Yes, Modgers, how you doing? Higgins MK2 ESCORT boot panel. Are they any good? I've heard various things about these. Mostly bad, I've got to say. But anyway, you find these things out is buy one. So I bought this panel. I've already unboxed it once at this point. And there is some damage on it. It's got a little dent in the top. And the corner towards the rear screen's not pressed right on the one side. In all fairness to the eBay seller, they knocked me £100 off, so it's a bit of a gamble at the time because I didn't know if I was going to be able to sort the bit where it was pressed wrong, because it looked quite bad. It doesn't really show on the video. It'll be a close-up in a minute. But I thought I'd have a go, nothing to lose. I think this was $350 before they knocked any off. I think the Magnum ones are £500. But I thought for the price, I might as well have a go at it. My car's not a show car. It's never going to be a show car either. I don't want it to be. It gets used a lot. It gets knocked about and damaged. So it won't hurt. My expectations were pretty low, I've got to say, for the panel, given the price. But this is the first. When I unboxed it first, it was just after work, so I only had a quick look and saw the damage enough to set the pictures, sent to the seller. So I'm just having a good look around the rest of the panel there. The footage isn't the best. My big camera just didn't record for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure that's probably down to the silly old man working it, but never mind. So this video footage is just off the little camera, which fortunately I've got running at the same time. I don't know if it's showing up there, but the panel's just not pressed right at all. And there's a bit of a gap where it's folded over. When I come to paint it, I might have to actually put a bit of weld in that, or if failing that, a bit of sealer, but I'll have a closer look at that when I come to paint it. So I'm just going to take my hammer and dolly. I'm just going to lightly tap that. You can't really see now. I was actually filming with the other camera from a different direction, but like I say, it didn't record. But I'm literally just putting the dolly underneath and just giving it a tap. And it didn't take a lot. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. But you can see there, that looks a lot sharper. Corner's up a little bit, so I'll have to just give that a little bit of a tap to get that down. But the bulk of it's actually come out fairly easy. Whether that's a reflection of the thickness of the metal or not, I don't know, but it feels okay. The panel doesn't feel bad at all. The boot lid that's on it currently is the one it left the factory with. I'm only the second owner of the car. I've had it 30 years. And the boot lid that's on it is the actual original boot lid. I actually made sure I lined that up before I removed it, so I could get a good gauge of what the gaps are like. You can see there that it's off now. Now I've got no one to give me a hand putting this boot lid on, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make sure all the bolts go in nice and easy, because if I'm trying to chuck that about on the back of the car and then the threads are tight because there's product in there, whether it be paint, whether it be e-coat, there could be a bit of weld splatter on there. So if you're doing this and you're trying to do it on your Todd, if them bolts are tight, just do yourself a favour and get a tap and die, and just run it down there, because you don't want to be messing about with tight bolts when you're trying to fit a boot lid on your own. You're just going to end up slipping and scratching the car or denting it. So just want to get it right. And so just going to run them bolts. I'm going to go down every one. I'm not just going to do the one. I'm just going to run down. Like I say, I'll line the boot lid up. Because you want something to compare to. So, like I say, I wasn't expecting a lot of this panel. So I wanted to make sure I knew what the gaps were like with a genuine panel on there. Because when I painted this car, I chucked the boot lid on. It was a bit of a rush job. And I never bothered lining it back up again properly afterwards. It was okay, it weren't the worst. But being as I changing the panel, I thought if I could line it up and see how good the genuine one fits, because they don't always fit brilliant. I went to fit a genuine driver's door on this in the last summer. I painted myself, painted my A post, painted the B post, painted the new door. My door's knackered on this car, driver's door, so I've took the door off, gone to put the genuine door on, and it might as well have been off. Might as well have been off a 2-door. Might as well have been off a Granada, to be fair. It was that much bigger. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. 70s Ford tolerances ain't the best, are they? But my life, it was nothing like. So I've still got the door. Next time I change the wing, I'll be able to fit it and move everything about. But I went to fit that panel, and it was touching at the front and it was touching at the back. There was no way it was going to fit. And again, I know the door on the car now is the original one. The one I bought, I know is a genuine panel. But it's just how it is. So that's why I made sure I lined the boot lid up first. So I got something to compare it to. And so now I'm just getting rid of a little green friend that managed to come over with it. I presume this is from China. A little green friend there. Let's rehome him. You get off there, get off my panel, or you'll end up an orange spider the way you're going. Give it a couple of weeks. So yeah, again, trim the bolts down on that side. It just makes your life easy. You don't want to skip this bit. You want to make sure they're nice and free. If there's 2 of you fitting it, it's not the end of the world, but I've got no one available to give me a hand this day, so I want to make sure my life's as easy as possible. So I'm just going to run them down, give the ear a scratch, that's it. Poke the brain back in. So yeah, just going to have a look, make sure there's nothing going to stop me. So here we go. I've put the foams back on the corner of the boot lid there, so I can rest that against the car without doing any damage. And at this point, I'm not gonna actually tighten the bolts up. I'm just going to put the bolts in, and then I'm going to close the boot lid down and have a look if it's somewhere near. Because, like I say, after the door last year, nothing would surprise me. So I'm just going to put them in loosely so I can close the boot lid down against the car, and I can have a look. Again, sorry the footage ain't a bit closer, but my big camera there, it just didn't work. Whether it didn't work or whether it's just a stupid old man me not pressing record. There was videos on there, but it just didn't have any images, so just gonna have to make do with this one. So I'm just gonna pinch the bolts. I want to do them up so it's not flapping around everywhere, but just so I can move the boot lid about on the hinges. So I'm just going to take the foams off, and then I'm going to just close gently. Don't just go down in one go, because if you're too far over, you're going to take all your paint off. So I'm just going to gently push it down. You can probably see I can just about move that about a little bit and shuffle it. And at this point, the gaps don't look too bad. So I'm just going to have a little play with it there. So I'm going to nip the bolts up next. I'm not going to tighten them again. I'm just going to tighten them in, just do them up enough so they're just touching the panel. Again, so I can move it about. But it'll be a little bit more secure this time. It won't be flapping up and down, working against the hinges. So I'm just going to do the driver side. That's it. Come on, Modger, we ain't got all day. You've got to get the kettle on. Hurry up, son. And the thing of doing it like this, you can just about move the panel about a bit. Shuffle it about while it's closed rather than keep opening it and tightening them and closing it and tight, It gets a bit monotonous after a bit. So yeah, just pinch that side. And it is worth taking your time because it's so easy to cause damage at this point. Probably not so important on this car because there's a bit of rust coming through in the shut, so I'm going to have to do something with that. But you can see I'm just not going all the way straight away, and I'm just going to give it a little pull because there's a bit of movement there. Just have a look. I can just about move it forward and backwards a little bit. It's not mega tight. I'm having a look, and it actually looks reasonable. So just gently moving it about. It's actually looking really good. A lot better than what I was expecting. Especially for the price, I'd say these are the cheapest that I could see anyway, the cheapest new panels available, and I've seen some bad things about them, but so far so good. So now I can go and pinch those up proper and go for another close. So just after this I will go and fit the lock and the latch so I can get it to latch over. It actually fitted really good. I'm not going to get rid of my old boot lid at this point because I've still got to make a template to drill the holes for the badges. If you're not keeping your badges, it's not so important, but I've got to do that. I want to take drill holes as well for the spoiler, so I'll take a template for that. So I don't want to chuck that away just yet. I'm going to give this a little tweak over. Yeah. Looking pretty good, I've got to say. Yeah, let's have a good look round. So yeah, again, tighten them up a little bit more now. It is easier with two here, but you know, not everyone's available. So I'm just going to go over to the boot lid, flip that over, because I'm going to have a look at getting the latch out of that. And the boot lock actually got a new seal for the lock barrel as well. And it's always worth changing stuff like that when you do it, because you're not going to bother again. So here's a little overview of the gaps. They're not 100% perfect, but they are actually a lot better than the boot lid I took off. And the boot lid I took off was the original one this car left the factory with. You see it wants to go a bit further back there. So I did adjust that. I did take that out a bit further. But that ain't bad at all. That lower corner there, I took a little bit of a fall to that because it was a little bit rounded. So the gap got a little bit tighter. But just a little hand foil to that. But that doesn't look too bad at all, does it? I'd definitely recommend them. It was a bit of a shame it come damaged, and there's a little dent which we'll do in a sec. But there ain't nothing wrong with that. I wanted to go back a little bit there, which I did that. There ain't nothing wrong with that, boy. Unless you're building a concourse car, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Especially for the price, you can just see the dent a little bit there. So, just in the middle of the screen there, and you see the dent, so I'm just going to have a go at checking that out. So the initial damage in the corner, that literally took a minute or two to get out. You can see that gap there. So when you see people saying these panels need lots of work, my experience is it doesn't need too much at all. So I'm just going to, a little bit of pressure underneath on the dolly there, and I'm trying to hit with the hammer face flat, and I'm going round the outside of the dent, nice and gently. I don't want to put too much pressure on it because you'll stretch the metal. So just applying a little bit of pressure. Oh, look at that for an action shock. I should have probably not fitted the camera to the boot lid. You know, not the sharpest in my old age, I've got to be honest, but yeah, look at that for an action shot. I'll have on in my next video. Get the machine, Bart. So I'm just putting a little bit of pressure on, have a look. It helps if you're not blind as a bat as well, but I can't help that. So again, a little bit of pressure, just working around the outside of the dent, not hitting it too hard. Yeah. Have a look. It's always worth looking underneath as well. But this dent actually came out fairly easy. You get this sometimes with bits being transported. It can't be helped. Like I say, they did knock some price off, so I can't moan at that. And it didn't take a lot of work to get it out. You'll see in a sec that you can only really the dent come out perfect. To be fair, you can just see the hammer marks in the E-coat where it's just scratched it where you've been hitting it, so it dulls it off. So a bit of primer filler over that, as you would when you're painting it anyway. That panel will be good. So I cannot moan. Overall, I'm really impressed with it. But like I say, especially for the price, you cannot moan. If you're building a concourse car, I don't think it'd take much more work to get it bang on. To be fair, it's really good. So you can see there, no dent. You might see a dull patch where the hammer's been dull in the actual E-coat. And that's it. Overall, I'll give that a 10 out of 10, really. For the price, you can't go wrong. Catch you on the next Modgers. Catch you later.